The curtain may have come down, but the story of 2015 is not over. Much of what took place will have a huge influence on global events in the coming year. We take a look now ahead to the expected key developments over the next 12 months, the major trends and themes that are likely to shape our world and impact on our lives. Syria continues to present perhaps the single greatest challenge to global stability. From its base in Raqqa, ISIL maintains a bloody reign, exporting the extremist ideology underlying terror attacks across the world. The West and Russia may have found common cause in seeking to defeat the jihadists, but they remain deeply divided over Syria's future governance, particularly the fate of Bashar al-Assad. Can they and the divided and diverse local parties bury their differences and strike a deal? As we enter 2016, there's a wisp of hope in the air, with the talks process begun in Vienna. UN-backed formal negotiations were scheduled to start in January, but the road will be long and the outcome far from certain. The hope for political settlement in Syria is intended to greatly alleviate a refugee tragedy that has left thousands dead and forced countless others into exile. The biblical exodus towards Europe stirred world powers into action with promises of asylum that they now must deliver on. While Syria's neighbours already host millions of displaced people, the intake by countries in Europe and beyond will gather pace in the coming months. Throughout the year, host communities will receive increasing numbers of refugees. But the EU plan to take in an additional 120,000 refugees, mostly in Germany, is bitterly contested, dividing state against state and, in some cases, people against politicians. And we may see that reflected in several elections across Europe this year, with attitudes hardened by the Paris terrorist attacks. And the human tragedy may also continue to unfold. The outflow towards the West is expected to surge again as the Mediterranean weather improves. But the EU hopes the next phase of its anti-people smuggling mission, Operation Sophia, directly targeting traffickers and their boats, will save many lives. Migration-related security concerns have been pushed higher up the US presidential election, normally dominated by domestic issues, by the San Bernardino massacre and the inflammatory declarations of Donald Trump.
Wow!
In 2016, US Republicans are a house divided as never before. Trump's status as frontrunner has confounded the party elite. It's the maverick versus the mainstream in a race to the nomination convention in July. The series of nominating votes begins with the Iowa caucuses on February the 1st. The Democrats' battle seems dull in comparison, with Hillary Clinton leading the field of just 3 main contenders. Unmarked by controversy and infighting, the process culminates with the party's nomination conference at the end of July. Whoever's running, the lead up to the vote for the White House on November the 8th is likely to be one of the most fascinating presidential contests of recent times. It will be contests of a sporting kind that dominate the summer months, with Europe's Festival of Football kicking off in early June. France is hosting the expanded 24-nation UEFA tournament, and in the aftermath of the Paris attacks, unprecedented security levels are expected. By then, a new era in world football will have begun, following a FIFA presidential election on February 28th, the final chapter in Sepp Blatter's corruption-tainted reign. The European champions will be crowned on July the 10th, but sports fans won't have to wait too long until the next global extravaganza, as the Rio Olympics gets underway just over 3 weeks later. Organisers will be hoping a clean games will help banish the memories of last year's doping scandals. It will not be just an eventful 12 months on the planet. High above us, a year of discovery will unfold. On the exploration calendar is India's first manned space flight, the arrival of NASA's Juno probe at Jupiter in the summer, and we leave you with images of the inaugural launch of the ESA Russian ExoMars project in March. Have a great 2016.